Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Eliza at Eliza Journals, and today I'm going to be showing you my process of how I write how I journal in my Midori Hibino. I've gotten a lot of questions about what do I write, how do I find things to write, or just what is a typical day of journaling in my Hibino about. So I just decided I think it would be really cool. I don't know if I could do this all the time, because of sometimes it's just really time consuming, and sometimes I end up journaling during the mornings and I take it with me to work to journal, but I'll probably think about doing a couple of these, maybe one a week. But as you can see here, this is just how I usually start off my journaling. I find an ink to use, and this time I use Sailor Ink Studio 670. I absolutely love this ink. It's such a pretty yellow, and it is not like a highlighter yellow. It is more of like a very muted, soft yellow, which I absolutely love. But then once I inked my pen and started writing, I actually noticed it was a little darker than usual. So I immediately wanted to pour out the ink, but I just decided to keep the ink in there. And after the video, I would just clean the fountain pen, because I think sometimes how you test other inks and you just use other inks to test, and you just forget that, oh, I used this nib to test ink. So it just kind of looked like it was black ink on the nib when I wrote with it, because this particular yellow is not that dark, and it was coming out extremely dark for some reason. And I also went to another page that I used this color on, and I noticed, I was like, yeah, this seems like a little bit darker. So I had to clean this fountain pen after the video. So usually when I journal in my Hibino, that's just what I do. I see what color I want to use first that matches the stickers. So these stickers are by Southern Belle Plans, and yes, I do have a code for that, and that will be linked in the description box. So pretty much I start off just talking about my overall mood. So sometimes I'm not happy, sometimes I'm sad, sometimes I'm feeling emotional, exhausted, drained. So I usually just start off my morning, or I really just start off at the beginning saying today I was upset or exhausted, and then I just go into just explaining some of the reasons why. Sometimes I do rant in my memory keeping journal. It's almost like this is just not my memory keeping journal, but it's just a memory keeping journal of everything, not just specific positive memories, but it's really just a safe place for me to just talk about how my day went, what my feelings have been like, what my mental health has been like, what triggered any of my anxiety or panic attacks and things like that. So this particular day, which was Friday, I was so upset. Well, I really wasn't upset, but I was kind of exhausted, because you know how you have a job and you want a job and you need to keep a job, but it's like, I guess some people just feel like they can just keep telling you to do more work, or basically micromanaging. One thing I do not like as a 38-year-old adult who has pretty much worked since she was 18 is people that are micromanaging. And I don't like to be micromanaged, because sometimes it makes me feel like you don't think I'm competent enough to do my job. And I've never been micromanaged before until we got a new until we got a new director. And it's not really her fault. It's the person over her who hired her. And to be honest, sometimes I think you have to be careful how you teach people to manage other people, So really, it's like the way that they're teaching her how to manage us, the people that are under her, is very micromanaging. And it's not like you're actually directing us to do something, because I can't even get on that. But it's more of like telling us to do things we already know what to, like we already know. Like literally we've taught her our job. So that's just frustrating to me, is when you don't know my job but you want to tell me what to do. So I just pretty much wrote down like how frustrated I was, at work. And like, y'all, I just can't even. It's just sometimes it's just so frustrating. Most of the time I'm just like, I'm ready to go. Because I am like literally exhausted. I'm very overwhelmed and I am very stressed out. So I worked from like 7 to 3 on Friday, and I make sure I worked early so I could get off early. So pretty much people ask me like, what do I do? I'm a human services professional. Pretty much it's another name for case manager. But I work in a group home setting. I do not work for the state at all. I don't think I could ever be a social worker for the state, because the turnover is ridiculous. Y'all, I just can't even, like, working on this side of what I do. Pretty much I'm like the liaison between DFACS, which is Department of Family and Children Services, and the case, like, and the child. So it's like I'm always the middle person in between whatever is going on with the child and DFACS. And this side, I just don't think that I could ever work for the state, because of how I see they don't follow their own policies and procedures like they should be doing. So it's like I would have to contact case managers and say, hey, one of my kids' transitional roundtable should be coming up, right? Just trying to initiate that, because, the child is 16, or the child has been 16 for at least 6 months. So when a child turns 16, they're supposed to have transitional roundtables. And it's just like a panel of people who are supposed to like tell the child all the benefits that they can continue to have beyond 18 if they wanted to stay in care. And also they let them know of like the benefits of going to their medical appointments and their dental appointments, and pretty much like the gift cards they can get for attending like their routine visits and things like that. But I'm just like, they don't do what they're supposed to be doing. You will call case managers, don't answer. Sometimes the child will be in our care, a new kid will be in our care for like a month, and you can get in touch with no one at the state. And it's like really, really ridiculous. So I just pretty much wrote about my experience as well. We are a group home of 24 youth, and we accepted a new youth at our facility, and it was a boy, a 12-year-old. So I just wrote about how I contacted the transporter and was like, hey, where y'all at? Because we give them a time frame. Like when we take a youth, we give them a time frame, to be at our facility, because our second shift, anything after second shift, is very chaotic. So we're like, where are you? It's 12 o'clock. And, the transporter's like, I'm on the way. I'm like 20 minutes out. I'm like, okay, good, because I'm leaving at 3 o'clock. So I just wrote about my experience with that. And so usually when a child comes, it's a lot of work though. We have to like put them into 2 electronic systems, we have to enter the child in something called Georgia Score, and we have to add them to our roster so that the state can also see that we just had a new intake. And then we also have to enter them into our electronic system, which is extended reach. And then you have to add all their personal information in there. So it takes about a good hour to really upload all the documents and things like that. So then I just wrote about my experience with my son's school situation. So long story short, my son is autistic. He's 15 and he goes to a special needs school by my job. I was able to get him in last year at the beginning of school, and I had applied for a scholarship, got a scholarship to cover the full entire tuition. I'm assuming it was about $12,000 or more. I don't even know how much the checks were, but that's how much he was awarded, which I'm completely grateful. And then all of a sudden, school ends, and then I had to do his re-enrollment application, and I must have totally missed the email regarding when to select, like, in the family portal. When you go to re-enroll, everyone has to do this. You have to select like a repayment, a payment plan option, whether to start in July, August, October, like that, even if you don't owe anything once they get the scholarship award letter. So I must have missed that email saying to select the August date. So I just selected July because I was under the impression that the scholarship awards would have already been sent to the school by then, because school starts in like 2-3 weeks maybe. And I get an email saying, okay, we're about to debit your account like $1,400. And I'm like, huh? Like, what? So I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, so I tried to I contacted the school. They did email me back, and they were like, they weren't able to stop the payment. Like, basically, like, the payment is just gonna go through. So I'm like, are you serious? And then he was like, yeah. He was like, that's why our director told everyone to make sure they select the August date so they wouldn't have to pay anything. So immediately I just went into panic mode. I went into panic mode. I'm like, I literally just got paid today, and you're telling me in 3 days, basically, I'm gonna be broke. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm not even about to stress out. I was like, I'm just going to just pull the money out of my IRA, which I know I should not be doing because it's set up for my retirement. But I have no choice at this point. So I just told myself, I really had to like really manage my anxiety at that point, because I literally just wanted to like lay in bed and just stare at the ceiling forever. But I just told myself, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to pull the money out of my IRA to pay this part of his tuition, and I'm just going to let that be that. And of course, I can build it back up within a couple months, and I'm going to just keep it moving, because you know what? I'm learning life does not have instructions. So it's pretty much like you just have to take life as it comes. And one thing about me is I hate when I don't have control over situations. It makes me spiral. And that is one thing that I'm also just dealing with in therapy. And of course, if no one knows, I have a new therapist. So we don't even have that rapport where I could have like called her and said, hey, I need an emergency session because I'm really like spiraling right now. I'm feeling very manic, like I don't have control. But I ended up just taking some deep breaths, calming down, and thinking things through. So it's like my decision was just made. I pull the money out of my IRA, and that's just going to be that. And I just solved the problem like that. So I also decided to take a mental health day on Monday. And yes, we have to use like our vacation time. In our old policy, we had mental health days, but I digress. But now they want to make us use our vacation time for things like that, which isn't fair, but okay. So I will be taking a mental health day Monday because I also need to get my car serviced because my maintenance light came on, y'all. So I wrote about that as well. And then pretty much I just ended my journal with just still saying my day was great, even though it really wasn't. This particular day, I used a Lamy Safari in a matte black with a fine nib, and my ink was Sailor Ink Studio 670. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, share, subscribe to my content. If you're not, click the notification bell for future videos. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye.